Lesson 4-7, use properties to multiply decimals. I can use properties to multiply decimals. Please press pause and write your topic heading, Lesson 4-7, properties to multiply decimals, and also your I can statement of I can use properties to multiply decimals. When you're done writing those, go ahead and push play. Now, just before we move on, when it says properties, and when we think of properties and multiplication, there's two that we've kind of spoke about so far. There is the associative property and also the commutative property. And when we talk about both of those, I want to just review them a little bit. The associative property is the grouping property. It just means that, and this is the associative, you can change the grouping, but your answer will stay the same. The commutative property is like the switcheroo property. That just means 3 times 2 is the same as 2 times 3. I just wanted to review both of those because when you see use properties to multiply decimals, that's what the curriculum's talking about. They're talking about that associative property here or the commutative property there. Here is your solve and share problem for tonight. Remember, when we are working through the problem, we do want to use cubes. So I'm going to read through it first, and then I'm going to go through the process. The weight of a small bag of raisins is 3/10 times the weight of the large bag. The large bag weighs 8/10 of a pound. What is the weight of the small bag? Solve this problem any way you choose. So we're going to go back and circle our numbers, 3/10 times the weight of a large bag, and the large bag weighs 8/10 of a pound. We're going to underline the question, what is the weight of the small bag? And then we're going to box keywords. I think times is a very important keyword there because that's signaling in our brain that we're probably going to be needing to use multiplication or repeated addition. And then also, what is the weight of the small bag? Weight of the small bag. I think that's important to box as well. Now, as we're evaluating, I am thinking of something. So we're going to end up taking 3/10 times 8/10 to evaluate and get the weight of our small bag. So there's our equation. One of the things that I'm thinking in my head, and you guys need to be familiar with, is that when you multiply any number by another number that is less than 1, you're going to get an answer that's smaller than what you had because you're multiplying it by a decimal. So if the large bag weighs 8/10 of a pound and I'm multiplying it by 3/10, that means I am going to be getting an answer that's smaller to what I started with because 3/10 is less than that. So keep that in mind as you're multiplying. So we're going to be getting an answer that's less than 8/10 because the small bag would clearly weigh less than the large bag. Now it says we can solve this problem any way we choose. So one of the things that I briefly want to talk to you a little bit about is understanding this number of 8/10. 8/10 is actually 8 times 1/10. 8 times 1/10 gives you 8. So you could even look at it as 8 times 1/10. Either way, it's going to give you 8/10. We also have 3/10. Well, 3/10 is 3 times 1/10, which equals 3/10. Or we could say it's 3 times 1 over 10, which is 3 tenths. I just want you to understand and realize how they get those 8 tenths or that 3 tenths. So knowing this, I know that if I take 8 times 3 and get 24, I then have to take that 24 times 100 because I have 1 tenth and 1 tenth. So that gives me 24 hundredths. One way you solve this problem. Now another way is just the standard algorithm way that many of you may be used to and prefer. I'm running out of room, but I'm going to do it over here. You could take 8 tenths times 3 tenths, and you would get 24, and then it's decimals over 1 place there and 1 place here. So you could move it over 2 places and get 24 hundredths of a pound as an answer there. Either way, you're still getting the same answer. Underneath the solution side, I'm breaking it down more so you can see and know a little bit more about fractions and decimals to find the product. And over on the left side, I'm just doing the standard algorithm way. So here, if we look at Hannah's work, she used patterns. She just started with 8 times 3 was 24. She moved her decimal over 1 place because of 8 tenths and then another place because of 3 tenths. And that's kind of familiar to a little bit what we did on the left side when I just lined it up and down and then looked at the number of places. And then remember it is of a pound, but that's 24 hundredths of a pound. And then we looked at Havar's work. And he's kind of breaking it down here where he's taking 8 tenths is 1/10 of 8, which gives you 8 tenths. And then 3 tenths is 1/10 of 3, which gives you 3 tenths. So therefore that would be 8 times 3 over times 100th, and that gives you 24 hundredths. This is breaking it down more by the place value. So what I want you guys to do is pick a method. Maybe it's just taking the digits times itself and counting over the number of decimals, or maybe it's breaking it down to look at the fractions and the decimals of each one. But I really want you to think about a method that you want to use, but then summarize your thinking of which way works best for you to solve the problem. Now, I want you to make sure that you're summarizing your thinking, all of your thoughts in your head when you come to school tomorrow. And I will check your work then. Thank you.